July 4th, 2016, Independence Day in the United States. While most of the country was watching fireworks, Kevin Durant published a first-person essay on the Players' Tribune. 3 paragraphs. Clean, direct, almost clinical. He was leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder after 9 seasons. He was joining the Golden State Warriors. The internet reacted like someone had lit a match in a room full of gasoline. Within an hour, his jersey was being burned on streets in Oklahoma City. To many people, Durant had just made the easiest championship decision basketball had ever seen. Teammates, opponents, analysts, and fans from every franchise took turns burying him online. Former teammates posted cryptic messages. Kids who had grown up watching him play for OKC were genuinely heartbroken in a way that only sports can produce. But here's the thing that never gets said clearly enough. Kevin Durant made that decision because he was desperate. Not desperate to win. He would have won with OKC eventually. Desperate to be seen as the best. Desperate to escape the weight of being second. Desperate to win in a way that nobody could argue with, nobody could diminish, nobody could take from him. He got the rings. He got the finals MVPs.
And it cost him the only thing he actually wanted. Kevin Durant was drafted 2nd overall in 2007. He was 19 years old. 6 foot 10 inches of pure shooting, with the hands of a point guard, and a release point so high that it was genuinely unguardable from the moment he arrived in the league. His first 2 seasons in Seattle, before the franchise moved to Oklahoma City, he was raw but electric. By his 3rd season, at 21 years old, he led the league in scoring. He would go on to win 4 scoring titles in the next 5 years. The 2012 Oklahoma City team was special. Durant was 23. Russell Westbrook was 23. James Harden was 22. 3 future MVPs on the same team, all under 24 years old. They beat San Antonio, Dallas, and Los Angeles to reach the finals. They pushed LeBron's Miami Heat to 5 games. That team was supposed to be the beginning, the first of several titles. The core was young enough to contend for a decade. Then OKC made one of the worst decisions in franchise history. Rather than pay James Harden, who was asking for a max contract as the team's 6th man, they traded him to Houston for essentially nothing. Just like that, the 3rd leg of their dynasty walked out the door. Durant was reportedly furious. He wanted Harden kept. Management chose short-term financial flexibility over long-term championship probability. The ripple effects of that decision shaped everything that followed.
The 2014 MVP speech. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Durant stood at the podium and talked about his mother, Wanda Durant, who raised him largely on her own, who worked multiple jobs, who sacrificed everything. He looked at her and said, "You're the real MVP."
And last, my mom. I don't think you know what you did. You had my brother when you were 18 years old. 3 years later, I came out. We were stacked, the odds were stacked against us. Single parent with 2 boys by the time you were 21 years old. Everybody told us we weren't supposed to be here. We moved from apartment to apartment by ourselves. One of the best memories I had is when we moved into our first apartment. No bed, no furniture, and we just all sat in the living room and just hugged each other. Because that's what we thought we made it. And when something good happens to you, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to look back to what brought me here. And you wake me up in the middle of the night in the summer times, making me run up a hill, making me do push-ups, screaming at me from the sideline of my games at 8 or 9 years old. We wasn't supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street, put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP.
Grown men all over America cried. In that moment, Durant was the most universally beloved player in the league. More beloved than LeBron, more universally respected than anyone. He was the good guy, the humble superstar, the one everybody was rooting for. That's the context you need for what comes next. Because what happened in the 2016 playoffs didn't just change Durant's career path, it exposed something in him that he had never fully shown in public before. And once it was exposed, it couldn't be taken back. The 2016 Western Conference Finals, OKC versus Golden State. Oklahoma City goes up 3-1. They are 24 minutes away from the NBA Finals. And then they fall apart. They lose Game 5 at home by 9, lose Game 6 in Golden State by 11, go back home for Game 7 and lose by 4.
After the loss, OKC management met with Durant about his future. He was a free agent. They wanted to know what it would take to keep him. And the answer Durant gave, privately, through his representation, was essentially that he didn't know, that he needed to think, that he wasn't sure OKC could win a championship. Over the next several weeks, Durant met with 6 franchises. Golden State was one of them. The meeting with the Warriors was unlike the others, because what Durant and the Warriors' core players discussed wasn't just basketball. It was narrative. It was legacy. They told him, essentially, that if he came to Golden State, he would immediately be on a team that was going to win championships. No uncertainty, no rebuilding, just winning. Durant took it, and the reaction was unlike anything the NBA had seen. Not just criticism, genuine anger. The kind of anger that comes from fans who felt personally betrayed. OKC had given Durant everything. The city had embraced him completely. He was the face of that franchise, that city, that identity. And he left for the team that had just beaten him. The optics were catastrophic. But here's what I want you to think about. Durant had watched LeBron James get dragged through the mud for the decision in 2010, for leaving Cleveland for Miami. He saw how badly that was received, how it damaged LeBron's reputation for years. Durant knew what player movement looked like in the public eye.
He made the move anyway, which tells you everything about how much he needed it. This wasn't a calculated PR decision. This was a man so consumed by the need to win, and to win in a way that silenced his doubters, that he was willing to accept whatever the public threw at him. He just didn't account for what winning that way would actually feel like. The Warriors won the championship in 2017. Durant averaged 35 points per game in the finals. He was the best player on the floor in every single game. The finals MVP was his by a landslide. And the response from the basketball world was, so what? Anyone would look good on that team. Durant knew it was coming. Intellectually, he had to have known. But there's a difference between knowing something and feeling it. And what he felt, publicly, visibly, was that the championship hadn't solved anything. The voices in his head, the doubts, the need for validation, they were all still there. Just now they had a different argument.
The burner account situation. In October 2017, just months after winning his first championship, Durant was caught using a fake Twitter account, @QuietMurda, to respond to critics and talk about himself in the third person. In one exchange, he wrote that Kevin Durant didn't like the organization in OKC and didn't like playing with Russ. He accidentally responded using his main account, revealing himself. The entire sports world erupted in laughter. This man had just won a championship and a finals MVP. He was spending his offseason arguing with anonymous Twitter accounts about his decision to leave OKC. That is not the behavior of someone who is at peace. 2018, the repeat. second championship, second finals MVP. Durant was even better than 2017, averaging 28 points on 64% true shooting against Cleveland, the best shooting performance in finals history by efficiency. And the reaction was the same. Hollow, doesn't count, easy mode. The wins were real. The respect he was seeking was not arriving.
Behind the scenes, sources close to Durant throughout this period described a man who was genuinely struggling. He had built his entire sense of self around being the best, around being recognized as the best, and the structure he had chosen to win was actively preventing that recognition. Every ring with Golden State was simultaneously a real achievement and proof in the public's eyes that he couldn't do it on his own. The cruel irony is that Durant was, statistically, the best player on those Warriors teams in the postseason. Not Steph, not Clay, Durant. You can look it up. But the narrative had already been written. Golden State was Steph's team, and Durant was the add-on that made it unbeatable. He had traded his identity for rings, and the rings came, and the identity never came back. He won everything, and felt like he had nothing to show for it. In June 2019, Durant signed with the Brooklyn Nets alongside Kyrie Irving. The pitch was everything he had been missing, a team built around him in the biggest market in the world, with a co-star who would defer to his leadership. Brooklyn was going to be Durant's team, his story, his redemption arc.
It never happened, because 1 month before he signed with Brooklyn, Durant's Achilles tendon ruptured in Game 5 of the NBA Finals against Toronto. The circumstances of that injury are important. Durant had been out for most of the final series with a calf injury. Golden State was down 3-1. The organization, players, coaches, management, was publicly saying Durant should not come back. It was too risky. The injury hadn't fully healed. Multiple medical sources have said that playing on a compromised calf substantially increases Achilles rupture risk. Durant played anyway, because his teammates needed him, because he is, whatever else you want to say about him, a competitor who cannot watch his team lose from the bench. He was magnificent for 11 minutes. 11 minutes of Durant at full speed, making it look easy. And then, the pop. He went down holding his leg, immediately knew. The arena went completely silent. And then, as Durant was helped off the court by teammates, a portion of the Oracle Arena crowd, his home crowd, started cheering the injury.
The entire NBA, regardless of team allegiance, was disgusted. It was one of the ugliest moments in modern NBA crowd behavior. But here's what gets lost in that moment. Durant got up. He tried to walk it off. He stood on the sideline for 30 seconds before the training staff physically guided him to the locker room. The Achilles was completely ruptured. He was trying to walk it off. Sound familiar? He spent the entirety of 2019-20 recovering, missed a full season, came back for 2020-21 with a Brooklyn team that looked on paper like the most talented roster in the league. Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and then everything went sideways. Harden demanded a trade midseason, unhappy with the situation. Kyrie refused to get vaccinated, making him ineligible to play home games in New York for months. Durant reached the semifinals and went down with a knee injury in Game 5 against Milwaukee, a game the Nets were winning, and Brooklyn collapsed without him. He had built the perfect team on paper, and the paper team burned down while he was watching from the training table. After Brooklyn fell apart entirely, Harden gone, Kyrie drama never ending, Durant requested a trade in the summer of 2022, then rescinded it, then was eventually traded to the Phoenix Suns in February 2023 in a blockbuster deal. Phoenix had Durant, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul. First-round exit against Denver, who went on to win the championship. Then, Durant was traded again to the Oklahoma City Thunder of all places.
The franchise he had abandoned 7 years earlier now rebuilt into a young contender with a completely different roster. He's playing alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a group of 22 and 23-year-olds. He is 36 years old. The numbers are still elite. Durant can still score from anywhere on the floor with almost no wasted motion. His efficiency hasn't cratered the way most aging stars does. He is still, by pure offensive ability, one of the 5 best players on the planet. The talent never left, but the contention window has closed. Durant has not been back to the NBA Finals since he left Golden State after 2019. He is on his 4th team in 5 years. Every situation, Brooklyn, Phoenix, OKC, has ended without the one thing he was chasing: a championship as the unquestioned main character.
The statistical case for Durant as the most talented offensive player ever remains strong. His offensive rating, his efficiency at his height, his scoring in the postseason, the numbers are legitimate. There is a real argument, not a casual one, but a rigorous analytical one, that Kevin Durant is the most gifted scorer to ever play professional basketball. The talent was never the issue. The legacy was always the issue. And the legacy reads like this: 2 rings, both with Golden State, both with Steph Curry as the face of the franchise. Every ring he won is immediately followed in the conversation by, "Yeah, but." That's not fair. But legacies aren't built on what's fair. They're built on narrative. And Durant handed the world a narrative in July 2016 that it has never let go of. He is one of the greatest players in the history of basketball, and he will spend the rest of his career trying to prove something that one decision made permanently unprovable.
There's a version of Kevin Durant's career that could have existed. He stays in Oklahoma City. They rebuild around him and Westbrook. They add pieces. They get back to the finals. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. But the attempt, the sustained years-long commitment to building something real in a small market, to leading a franchise through failure and disappointment and coming out the other side, that attempt would have defined him. Win or lose, the Durant who stayed in OKC would have been remembered as one of the great competitors in the sport's history. Instead, he made the rational choice, the guaranteed win choice, the choice that any person who wants to maximize their chances of championship success would make if they were making the calculation on a spreadsheet.
And it ate him alive. Because championships are not what Durant wanted. Not really. What he wanted was to be seen, truly seen, as the best player of his generation, as someone who willed his team to greatness through sheer force of talent and will, as someone who could not be denied. That version of him was available. He chose a different path. You can't buy a legacy. You can only build one. Or in Kevin Durant's case, you can have one and trade it away for the easiest rings in NBA history and the hardest conscience to live with.